Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Amy plays Show and Tell, and Nick puts in a Blood Moon. Can Amy tap her non-basic lands for their normal colors after she sees the Blood Moon, but before the ability shuts them off? Okay, so to answer this question, we can first observe that since Blood Moon, making everything into mountains, is a continuous effect, that applies as soon as the Blood Moon is in play. There's no time where the Blood Moon is on the battlefield when Amy's Tundra can still tap for blue. Therefore, for this trick to have any chance of working, she would need to tap the Tundra before the Blood Moon entered the battlefield. Now, it turns out that's not quite enough information to call this case closed, because anytime something is entering the battlefield, that object is visible to all players immediately before it moves, even if it's entering from a hidden zone like a player's hand or a library. The reason for this is that otherwise any replacement effects that apply to the permanent entering the battlefield would not function properly, since replacement effects apply immediately before the event that they replace. I talked about this topic in more detail on my video about Enters the Battlefield replacement effects, so you can check that out if you'd like a fuller explanation. For now, let's take a look at what this means for Amy. Unfortunately, this won't help her because she doesn't have priority at any point during this move. Now, I already know what you're thinking, but Dave, you don't need priority to activate a mana ability, and that's true, there are certain cases where you can activate a mana ability without priority, but that doesn't mean you can just activate them whenever you feel like it. Rather, some specific circumstance in the game needs to exist for that to be allowed, generally corresponding to something asking for a mana payment. Because nothing like this is happening in the case described from the original problem statement, Amy would not be able to tap her lands for their normal colors after seeing the Blood Moon. Ready for some challenge questions to test your understanding? Let's say that Amy activates an Aether Vial and she wants to put in a Meddling Mage naming Brainstorm. When is the last time that Nick could cast a Brainstorm? Well, like before, Nick would need priority in order to cast that Brainstorm, so he needs to do it before the Aether Vial ability resolves. Meddling Mage has you name a card as it's entering the battlefield, which is a replacement effect. There's no time when Meddling Mage is on the battlefield when it doesn't have a card named for it. And there's no time when you can play the named card while Meddling Mage naming that card is on the battlefield. Therefore, Nick would have to respond to the Aether Vial activation in order to play that Brainstorm. Note that this is before Amy names a card with Meddling Mage and before Nick even sees that there's a Meddling Mage coming into play. Well, what about this? Amy attacks with Zur the Enchanter and she wants to put a Phantasmal Terrain naming planes onto Nick's Tundra. When is the last time Nick can tap his Tundra for a blue? Okay, so first of all, yes, having a Phantasmal Terrain set to plains on a Tundra really does stop that Tundra from tapping for blue. Yes, even though the Tundra is already a plains. Now, second of all, this works exactly like the Blood Moon example, but with a couple of extra complications. You have to name a basic land type, and you also have to specify which land Phantasmal Terrain will enchant. Both of these decisions are made as Phantasmal Terrain enters, meaning that, just like what we saw in the Meddling Mage example, there's no way to tap the Tundra for a blue after you see the Phantasmal Terrain. And that's all I have for today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling. Until then, I hope you have a great day.